The 36-year-old princess was killed in a high-speed car chase in Paris early Sunday morning Australian time.
Princess Diana's name transcends geographical and generational boundaries and lives in the hearts of people around the world. Her tragic death in a car crash in Paris's Pont de l'Alma tunnel on August 31, 1997, shocked the world. The circumstances surrounding her death have been the subject of widespread speculation, conspiracy theories, and investigations. Questions have been raised about whether Diana's untimely death was in fact an accident or part of a more sinister plot. Decades later, these speculations have been reignited by shocking revelations from Princess Diana's trusted butler, Paul Burrell. Burrell has recently come forward with new information that has shocked people. Paul Burrell's relationship with Princess Diana went beyond that of a mere servant. Over the years, Burrell has written books and participated in interviews in which he has given insight into the life of the people's princess. However, his latest revelation may be the most significant yet, challenging the official account of Diana's death and suggesting it may have been staged by forces within the establishment. The official account of the events leading to Diana's death is well documented. She and her companion, Dodi Fayed, were being pursued by paparazzi when their vehicle, driven by Henry Paul, crashed in the tunnel. It was subsequently determined that Paul had been driving under the influence of alcohol, and the crash was ruled an accident. Nonetheless, from the outset, there were murmurs of foul play. Diana herself had expressed concerns for her safety, reportedly confiding in friends that she believed she was being targeted. In a letter written months prior to her death, Diana allegedly indicated that she feared a car accident might be staged to take her life. These concerns were largely dismissed by the public, perceived as paranoia stemming from the intense media scrutiny she faced. However, Burrell's recent revelation has lent new credence to these apprehensions. According to Burrell, Diana confided in him about her fears on numerous occasions. She believed that she was in danger, that certain factions within the royal establishment were displeased with her, and that they sought to eliminate her. Burrell recalls Diana expressing that she felt like a lamb to the slaughter, a sentiment he initially regarded as hyperbole, but now recognizes as a sincere expression of her fear. Burrell's recent assertions extend beyond the suspicions previously held by Princess Diana herself. He claims to possess evidence indicating that her death was not an accident, but rather a meticulously orchestrated operation executed by individuals capable of manipulating circumstances to serve their interests. Although the details of Burrell's evidence remain undisclosed, he alludes to the involvement of high-ranking officials and the implementation of sophisticated techniques to ensure that the crash was presented as an accident. Burrell contends that Henry Paul, the driver, was not merely an individual who had consumed excessive alcohol, but rather someone who had been compromised or coerced into participating in the scheme. Burrell's allegations suggest a cover-up of significant magnitude, characterized by multiple layers of deception aimed at shielding those accountable from scrutiny. The ramifications of Burrell's claims are profound. Should his assertions prove accurate, it would imply that one of the most cherished figures of the 20th century was assassinated, not by foreign operatives or random criminals, but by members of the very establishment to which she belonged. This scenario would indicate a level of corruption and moral decay within the system that is challenging to fathom. The notion that Princess Diana, a figure renowned for her compassion, philanthropic efforts, and rapport with the public, could have been perceived as such a threat that her elimination was deemed necessary is both alarming and tragic. According to Burrell, the motivations underlying such a conspiracy are founded in power dynamics, control, and the preservation of the existing order. In the years preceding her death, Diana had increasingly vocalized her stance on issues that unsettled the establishment. She had advocated against landmines, sought to reduce the stigma surrounding AIDS, and utilized her platform to champion causes that were often contentious. Furthermore, her relationship with Dodi Fayed, an Egyptian Muslim, was regarded by some as a potential challenge to the royal family's image. In the years leading up to her untimely death, Princess Diana increasingly articulated her concerns regarding issues that were often uncomfortable for the establishment. She advocated against landmines, addressed the stigma surrounding AIDS, and utilized her platform to promote causes that frequently sparked controversy. Additionally, her relationship with Dodi Fayed, an Egyptian Muslim, was perceived by some as a potential threat to the image and integrity of the British monarchy. Burrell posits that Diana's growing independence and her readiness to challenge royal protocols may have been regarded as destabilizing by those who prioritize the continuity and stability of the monarchy above all else. The suggestion that Diana's death was orchestrated from within raises significant questions about the role of the media. While the relentless pursuit by paparazzi is often cited as the principal cause of the tragic crash, Burrell's assertions imply that the media may have been manipulated as part of a broader scheme. This notion that the press, whether knowingly or unwittingly, could have been employed as a tool in such a conspiracy adds a further layer of complexity to the narrative. It underscores the fraught relationship between Diana and the media, a relationship characterized by both adoration and exploitation. Burrell's revelations have rekindled interest in the numerous conspiracy theories that have emerged since Diana's passing. These theories have ranged from alleged involvement by MI6 to suggestions that the royal family itself orchestrated the crash. While many of these theories have been dismissed as implausible or lacking substantiation, Burrell's claims carry the weight of an individual who was closely associated with Diana and has access to information not available to the general public. His assertion of possessing evidence to support his claims necessitates a reconsideration of these theories, which can no longer be dismissed outright. As the world grapples with Burrell's startling revelations, it prompts broader inquiries into the nature of power and the lengths to which those in power may go to safeguard their interests. If Diana was indeed the victim of an inside operation, it would not be the first instance in history where an individual perceived as a threat to the establishment faced dire consequences. History is replete with examples of those who have challenged the status quo and ultimately paid the ultimate price. What renders Diana's case particularly unique is the pervasive aura of mystery surrounding it, with the official narrative having been widely accepted for an extended period. The possibility of a concealed truth behind her death compels a reassessment of how we interpret history and the events that shape our world. It serves as a reminder that history is often constructed by those who prevail, or, in this context, by those who wield control over the narrative. Burrell's claims challenge us to scrutinize the stories we have been presented with and to contemplate the possibility that there exists more to the narrative than we have been led to believe. The revelations made by Paul Burrell concerning the death of Princess Diana are likely to be profoundly unsettling for those who were close to her. These assertions imply that her fears were not unfounded, suggesting that individuals she trusted may have been complicit in her tragic demise. Furthermore, this situation raises pertinent questions regarding the role of those within Diana's inner circle at the time of her passing. If Burrell's claims are accurate, it raises the possibility that members of the royal household or the broader establishment possessed knowledge of the circumstances yet opted for silence. The notion of a conspiracy of silence surrounding Diana's death is deeply concerning and adds an additional layer of tragedy to her narrative. As the global community contemplates the implications of Burrell's revelations, it is likely that there will be renewed calls for a comprehensive reinvestigation into the circumstances surrounding Diana's death. Previous inquiries, such as the Operation Paget investigation conducted by the Metropolitan Police, have concluded that her death was the result of a tragic accident. However, Burrell's assertions indicate that there may be further details yet to be uncovered. Should a new investigation be initiated, it is imperative that it is conducted with the highest standards of transparency and impartiality to ensure that the truth, regardless of its nature, is ultimately revealed. In the interim, Burrell's statements serve as a stark reminder of the potential dangers associated with challenging established norms. Diana was a woman who navigated her life according to her own principles, utilizing her position to advocate for issues of significance to her and refusing to be silenced. In doing so, she garnered the affection of millions while simultaneously creating powerful adversaries. The prospect that these adversaries may have played a role in her death is a sobering consideration, one that casts a long shadow over her enduring legacy. Burrell's stunning allegations regarding Princess Diana's death have reverberated globally, reigniting long-standing debates and introducing new complexities to the already intricate narrative surrounding this tragic event. A thorough examination of the potential ramifications of Burrell's revelations reveals that this situation transcends the story of one individual's demise. It encompasses themes of power, secrecy, and the lengths to which institutions may go to safeguard their interests. To fully grasp the seriousness of Burrell's allegations, it is essential to explore the broader context of Diana's life, the societal environment in which she existed, the nature of the British establishment, and the possible motivations underlying such a dramatic and troubling turn of events. Princess Diana, commonly known as the People's Princess, was a prominent figure who resonated deeply with individuals across the globe. Her marriage to Prince Charles in 1981 was initially perceived as a fairy tale. However, as time progressed, it became apparent that her life was far from the idealized portrayal presented to the public. The challenges within her marriage to Charles were extensively reported, with persistent rumors of infidelity and dissatisfaction emerging in the media. Diana's struggles with mental health, particularly her battle with bulimia, along with her openness regarding her emotional distress, further complicated her relationship with both the media and the public. Despite these adversities, Diana emerged as a significant advocate, utilizing her platform to support causes that were personally meaningful to her, such as the fight against HIV/AIDS and the campaign to ban landmines. Nonetheless, her increasing independence and her readiness to address politically sensitive topics began to create a rift between her and the royal family, as well as with the broader British establishment. The separation from Prince Charles in 1992, followed by their divorce in 1996, represented a pivotal moment in her life. Unshackled from the constraints of her marriage, Diana became notably more vocal, and her actions increasingly deviated from the expectations associated with royal protocol. During this period, Diana reportedly began to perceive that she was being targeted and that her life was in jeopardy. Paul Burrell, who served as Diana's butler during this tumultuous time, remained one of the few individuals close to her throughout her challenges. His recent assertions indicate that Diana's concerns were not unfounded. According to Burrell, Diana believed she was under surveillance and that her phone was being monitored. She suspected that certain individuals within the establishment viewed her as a threat and sought to silence her. Burrell contends that this sense of paranoia was not merely a figment of an overactive imagination, but rather a reflection of a tangible and imminent danger. If Burrell's claims are to be taken seriously, it suggests that the forces Diana feared were indeed active, potentially orchestrating a plan to eliminate her in a manner that would appear accidental. The choice of a car crash as the method of assassination is particularly unsettling, especially in light of Diana's own premonitions. In a notable letter allegedly written to Burrell, she expressed her belief that her life would end in a car accident, with the brakes on her vehicle being compromised. This letter, often referred to as the Michon Note, has circulated widely since her death. However, Burrell's recent claims introduce a more sinister dimension to this already troubling piece of evidence. The assertion that Henri Paul, the driver involved in the tragic accident resulting in Princess Diana's death, may have been implicated in a conspiracy or manipulated into his role, presents a significant development in Paul Burrell's account. Historically, Henri Paul has been depicted as a scapegoat in this incident, with official investigations concluding that his intoxication and reckless driving were the primary factors contributing to the crash. Nevertheless, Burrell's allegations propose that Paul may have been coerced or compromised, suggesting that his actions on that fateful night were not entirely voluntary. This theory resonates with the suspicions held by various conspiracy theorists who have long scrutinized the circumstances surrounding Paul's conduct that evening, particularly the elevated levels of carbon monoxide detected in his blood, which some assert could imply foul play. If it is established that Henri Paul was, in fact, manipulated or coerced, the question arises, who was responsible? Burrell alludes to the potential involvement of high-ranking officials, possibly even intelligence agencies, who would possess both the means and the motive to execute such a scheme. The speculation regarding the involvement of MI6 or other branches of British intelligence in Diana's death is not novel. However, Burrell's assertions lend additional credibility to this theory. These agencies are recognized for their resources and expertise in conducting covert operations, and if Diana was perceived as a threat to national security or the stability of the monarchy, it is plausible that they might have been engaged to mitigate that threat. The potential participation of intelligence agencies also prompts an examination of the role of the British government. Should it be determined that Diana's death was orchestrated by individuals within the establishment, it would likely necessitate the tacit approval or, at the very least, the awareness of key governmental figures. This scenario raises the disconcerting possibility that individuals in positions of significant authority, potentially even at the highest levels, were complicit in the conspiracy. The implications of such a situation are profound, suggesting a troubling degree of corruption and moral decay within the corridors of power. As we evaluate Burrell's allegations, it is imperative to consider the broader context of the British monarchy and its interplay with the government and intelligence agencies. The monarchy, as an institution, is intricately linked with the British state, with its stability often regarded as synonymous with the stability of the nation itself. Throughout history, the monarchy has been safeguarded and upheld, sometimes at considerable cost. In this light, it is conceivable that Diana, increasingly perceived as a maverick and a potential destabilizing influence, could have been viewed as a threat necessitating neutralization. Diana's association with Dodi Fayed, the son of Egyptian billionaire Muhammad al-Fayed, is frequently referenced as a significant factor in the conspiracy theories surrounding her untimely death. Diana, as a member of the British royal family, being involved with an individual of Muslim and non-British heritage, was perceived by some as contentious. Revelations from Bell indicate that this relationship may have been a crucial element in the decision to target Diana. The potential for Diana to marry Dodi and possibly bear additional children who would be integrated into the royal lineage was viewed by some as unacceptable. This aspect of Bell's assertions raises sensitive issues related to race, religion, and the monarchy's role as a symbol of British identity. If these claims hold validity, it would imply that Diana was considered a threat not solely due to her independence and activism, but also due to her choice of partner. The media's involvement in Diana's death has been a subject of extensive debate since the day of her passing. The paparazzi, who relentlessly pursued her vehicle on that tragic night, have frequently been held accountable for the crash. However, Bell's assertions introduce the notion that the media's participation was not merely a result of overzealous photographers seeking a photograph of Diana, but rather part of a broader, orchestrated agenda. The proposition that the press could have been manipulated or utilized as an instrument within a plot adds a new layer of complexity to the narrative. The media's relationship with Diana was always multifaceted. While they contributed to her elevation as a global icon, they also intruded into her private life in ways that caused her considerable distress. Bell's revelations imply that, ultimately, the media may have been unwitting accomplices in her demise, If Bell's allegations are substantiated, the implications extend far beyond the tragic loss of Princess Diana. They touch upon the fundamental nature of power and its exercise within a society that prides itself on democracy and transparency. The notion that influential individuals or institutions could conspire to eliminate someone perceived as a threat to their interests serves as a sobering reminder of the potential for power to be abused. It raises critical questions regarding accountability and the systems in place to prevent such abuses from occurring. In a democratic society, the rule of law is expected to be paramount. However, Bell's claims suggest the existence of forces operating beyond these established boundaries. The public's response to Paul Bell's revelations has been characterized by shock and disbelief. For many individuals, the notion that Princess Diana's death could have been orchestrated as an inside job is profoundly unsettling. Nonetheless, the enduring prevalence of conspiracy theories over the years indicates a persistent unease regarding the official account of events. Diana was a figure who evoked deep affection and loyalty among millions, and the suggestion that she may have been betrayed by those closest to her constitutes a grave betrayal. Bell's assertions have reopened long-standing wounds and reignited discussions about the circumstances surrounding the tragic events of August 31st, 1997. As we contemplate the possibility that Diana's death was the result of deliberate orchestration, it is crucial to acknowledge the human cost associated with these events. Diana was not merely a public figure. She was the mother of two young sons, Princes William and Harry, who were left profoundly affected by her untimely passing. The ramifications of losing their mother in such a tragic and public manner have been significant, influencing their lives and roles within the royal family. Should Bell's claims be substantiated, it would imply that William and Harry not only lost their mother, but also fell victim to a conspiracy that transcended a mere accident. The psychological and emotional burden of such a realization would be unfathomable. The renewed focus on Diana's death in light of Bell's revelations also carries implications for the royal family as a whole. The British monarchy has historically been an institution steeped in tradition and secrecy, and any insinuation of misconduct or cover-up poses a threat to public trust. In recent years, the monarchy has encountered increasing scrutiny, particularly following Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's departure from royal duties and their subsequent disclosures regarding their treatment within the family. Bell's claims may contribute to the growing sense of unease surrounding the institution and its role in contemporary Britain. The potential consequences of Paul Bell's assertions warrant careful consideration. His claims that Princess Diana's death was a calculated and orchestrated event not only revive old wounds, but also invite a comprehensive reassessment of the British monarchy, its relationship with the state, and the various forces at play within these powerful institutions. As the world grapples with the implications of Bell's assertions, it becomes essential to explore the deeper, often murky undercurrents that have influenced the narrative surrounding Diana's life and death. To fully grasp the significance of Bell's claims, one must first examine the historical context in which the British monarchy operates. The royal family is not merely a symbolic institution. It is a deeply embedded component of British society, with connections to government, military, and intelligence communities. The monarchy embodies continuity, tradition, and national identity, yet it remains an institution that must adapt to thrive in an ever-evolving landscape. Throughout history, monarchies have encountered various challenges that have threatened their stability, ranging from political revolutions to personal scandals. In response, they have often employed a combination of strategic maneuvering and, when deemed necessary, decisive and sometimes ruthless actions to safeguard their positions. The rise of Diana as a global figure in the 1980s and 1990s occurred during a period when the monarchy was already experiencing significant pressure. The traditional stoic image of the royal family increasingly conflicted with the expectations of a modern, media-driven society. Diana, characterized by her charisma, openness, and ability to connect with the public, embodied a new archetype of royalty, one that was relatable and human. However, this very relatability was perceived by some within the establishment as a double-edged sword. While it endeared the monarchy to the public, it simultaneously elevated Diana to a position of considerable power and influence, one that risked overshadowing the royal family itself. As Diana gained greater independence, particularly following her separation and eventual divorce from Prince Charles, she began to transcend the traditional confines that had previously defined her role. She engaged with politically sensitive issues and adopted positions that were often at odds with the establishment. Her prominent campaigns against landmines, her advocacy for AIDS patients, and her willingness to address issues such as mental health and domestic abuse were viewed as both commendable and potentially destabilizing. Diana evolved from merely being a princess to becoming a powerful global icon, a transformation that made her a significant figure in public discourse. This increasing autonomy and activism may have been perceived by the establishment as a threat. The monarchy, with its rigid structure and long-standing traditions, might have interpreted Diana's actions as undermining its authority and public image. Furthermore, her relationship with Dodi Fayed introduced an element of cultural and religious diversity into the royal narrative that could have been uncomfortable for some within the establishment. The prospect of Diana, one of the most recognized women globally, marrying a man of Muslim and Egyptian descent, could have been seen as a challenge to the traditional Christian image of the British monarchy. If the claims made by Bell are accurate, it is plausible that this relationship, coupled with Diana's growing independence, served as a catalyst for certain influential individuals to consider her removal from the equation. Allegations made by Burrell suggest that Diana was regarded as a destabilizing force that needed to be neutralized in order to protect the interests of the monarchy and the broader British establishment. The concept of neutralizing a perceived threat is not unfamiliar to intelligence agencies, which have historically been tasked with safeguarding national security by any means necessary. The notion that MI6 or another intelligence agency could have been implicated in Diana's death, as Burrell implies, aligns with the perspective that her continued existence and influence posed a risk to the established order. The utilization of intelligence agencies to conduct covert operations, including assassinations, is well documented throughout history. The Cold War era, in particular, is replete with examples of intelligence agencies orchestrating coups, assassinations, and other clandestine activities to protect national interests. While the idea of such actions occurring within the framework of a modern Western democracy like the United Kingdom may seem implausible, it is not entirely beyond the realm of possibility. Intelligence agencies operate within the shadows, often with minimal oversight, and their actions are driven by the perceived needs of the state, which may include preserving the stability of the monarchy. Should Diana's death indeed be the result of an orchestrated effort, as suggested by Burrell, it would necessitate a high level of coordination and secrecy. The conclusion of official investigations into her death, notably the Operation Paget inquiry, which determined that it was a tragic accident, implies that if foul play were involved, it was concealed with extraordinary skill. This raises critical questions regarding the feasibility of maintaining such a cover-up for an extended period and the potential requirements for uncovering the truth. One of the most concerning aspects of Bell's claims is the implication that Diana was cognizant of the peril she faced. Her expressed fears, which she reportedly shared with Burrell and others, were not taken seriously at the time. However, in retrospect, they appear to have been tragically prescient. The letter in which she predicted her potential demise in a car accident resulting from tampered brakes has become a central point of various conspiracy theories. Burrell's assertion that this letter was not merely the musings of a distressed individual, but rather a sincere indication of a genuine threat, is profoundly unsettling. It implies that Diana was aware of the forces working against her and felt powerless to counteract them. The notion that Diana may have been aware of a plot against her raises significant questions regarding the nature of her relationships with those in her inner circle. If Bell's claims are accurate, it is conceivable that some individuals close to her were either complicit in the alleged plot or, at the very least, aware of the threats she encountered. This scenario casts a troubling shadow over the entire royal household and raises uncomfortable questions about the loyalty and integrity of those who were nearest to Diana in her final months. The implications of Burrell's revelations extend beyond the British establishment. Diana was an international figure, and her untimely death profoundly affected individuals worldwide. The notion that her life was cut short not by a tragic accident, but rather by a calculated act of violence perpetrated by those entrusted with her protection, constitutes a significant betrayal on a global scale. It serves as a stark reminder of the potential for corruption and abuse of power at the highest echelons of society. The public's reaction to Bell's disclosures has sparked renewed interest in the myriad conspiracy theories surrounding Diana's death since 1997. These theories, which have ranged from alleged involvement by MI6 to suggestions that the royal family itself orchestrated the crash, have gained new momentum in light of Burrell's claims. The fact that someone so close to Diana, who had access to her most intimate thoughts and concerns, has come forward with such serious allegations has compelled even the most skeptical observers to reevaluate their perspectives. As the global community contemplates the ramifications of Burrell's assertions, there is likely to be mounting pressure for a new investigation into Diana's death. While previous inquiries concluded that the crash resulted from a confluence of factors, including Henri Paul's intoxication and the reckless conduct of paparazzi, Burrell's allegations suggest that the narrative may be more complex. Should a new investigation occur, it must be conducted with absolute transparency and independence to ensure that the truth is ultimately uncovered. The potential ramifications of such an investigation are profound. If Burrell's claims are substantiated, it would not only vindicate those who have long contended that Diana's death was not an accident, but it would also carry significant implications for the British establishment. The revelation that members of the royal family or the British government were implicated in a conspiracy to eliminate Diana would be nothing short of earth-shattering. It would fundamentally challenge the integrity of institutions that have historically commanded high regard and could precipitate a crisis of confidence in the monarchy. The implications of such revelations for the royal family would be significant. The monarchy has historically depended on public support to uphold its status, and any allegations of misconduct involving its members could prove to be profoundly damaging. The assertion that Princess Diana's death was orchestrated by elements within the establishment would likely result in a considerable erosion of trust in the monarchy, both within the United Kingdom and globally. This decline in trust could have enduring repercussions for the institution, potentially prompting calls for reform or even the abolition of the monarchy. In addition to the ramifications for the monarchy, Burrell's allegations may also carry wider political consequences. The British government, which has traditionally maintained a close association with the monarchy, would likely come under intense scrutiny if it were revealed that individuals within the government were implicated in a conspiracy to eliminate Diana. Such a disclosure could precipitate a crisis of confidence in the government and could have significant ramifications for British politics as a whole. Moreover, the international implications of Burrell's claims merit consideration. Diana was not merely a British figure, she was a global icon, and her death was mourned across the world. The notion that her demise resulted from a conspiracy orchestrated by members of the British establishment would likely incite international outrage. Nations around the world could demand accountability and answers, potentially straining diplomatic relations between the United Kingdom and other countries. As we contemplate the potential consequences of Burrell's assertions, it is essential to reflect on the impact on Diana's legacy. Diana has long been remembered as a compassionate and empathetic individual who utilized her platform to advocate for those who were often marginalized or overlooked. The suggestion that her life was ended not by chance, but by a deliberate act of violence, is a tragic and deeply unsettling notion. If Burrell's claims are substantiated, they would introduce a new dimension of tragedy to Diana's narrative, transforming her from a mere victim of circumstance into a martyr whose life was taken due to her endeavors to improve the world. If you found this video informative, we encourage you to like and subscribe to our channel. Additionally, we invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe this revelation will influence public perception? We are eager to hear your opinions. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time.